Welcome back to my Financial Literacy Corner. I appreciate you being here and you taking the time to listen to this information. So let's go ahead and get you keyed into what tokenized finance is. Tokenization is the representation of financial assets and liabilities on programmable digital ledgers. It's increasingly shaping financial system developments. The most consequential transformation occurs within the regulated financial system, including banks, asset managers, and financial market infrastructures, where tokenization can enable atomic settlement, continuous liquidity management, and inept compliance. This note argues that tokenization constitutes a structural shift in financial architecture. Rather than an improvement of marginal efficiency, it describes how permission shared ledgers, programmable financial assets, and smart contracts based risk management alter the nature of settlement, liquidity, and systematic risk. The note also emphasizes that the long term success of tokenization depends on anchoring digital finance in public trust through clear policy frameworks, safe settlement assets, robust governance of code, legal certainty, and international coordination. Absent such anchors, tokenization risks amplifying financial instability through speed, concentration, and fragmentation, as the contract based risk management alters the nature of settlement, liquidity, and systematic risk. So, listen to this real quick. That way, y'all can be on point. The global financial system is undergoing a transition that is often described as technological, but is fundamentally institutional. Tokenization enables financial claims, including money, securities, and derivatives, to be represented as programmable digital tokens recorded on shared ledgers. This capability allows for real-time atomic settlement, collapsing multiple stages of the traditional finance value chain into a synchronized process. Previous waves of digitalization improved efficiency within existing institutional boundaries. Instead, tokenization reconfigures the architecture through which trust, settlement, and risk management are organized. Unlike previous waves of digitization, which preserved existing institutional boundaries while improving efficiency, tokenization reconfigures the architecture itself. And this was what the Bank for International Settlements was saying in 2025. And yet this is in IMF notes that I am reading. So this is directly from the IMF. So, from a policy perspective, the distinction between the governance frameworks of tokenized and traditional systems is critical. Financial sector policy frameworks have evolved around institutions, balance sheets, and markets that operate with temporal frictions, end-of-day settlements, batch processing, and delayed reconciliation. These frictions are not only costly to investors, but also provide temporal buffers that allows exposures to be netted, liquidity to be mobilized, and authorities to intervene before settlement becomes final. Tokenized systems reduce or eliminate many of these buffers. Settlement becomes continuous, margining becomes automated, and liquidity demands materialize instantaneously. They're looking for that instantaneous liquidity. Tokenization challenges crisis management and resolution frameworks that are built around nationally domiciled institutions. territorially bound infrastructures, and jurisdiction-specific legal authority. In tokenized systems, transactions are executed on shared ledgers spanning multiple jurisdictions, allowing assets, liabilities, and collateral to move across borders at machine speed and without a clear geographic anchor. This creates a fundamental mismatch between global, continuous operation of tokenized finance and resolution regimens that rely on jurisdictional control over institutions and locally situated assets, as the key levers of control may be instead lie in governance keys, consensus mechanisms, or smart contract logic operating across borders. Therefore, the relevance of tokenization extends beyond innovation policy or market development. It raises core questions for central banking and prudential regulation. It requires international coordination given the substantive cross-border transactions. Who provides the ultimate settlement assets? How are risks governed when final logic is ebbed in code? How can legal finality be ensured in a system that operates across jurisdictions at machine speed? This note addresses these questions by situating tokenization within the broader evaluation of the financial monetary system. Let me wrap this up for y'all. From digitization to tokenization. Digitization has long been a feature of modern finance. Payments, securities, and derivatives have been recorded electronically for decades. However, these systems define ownership by entries in centralized databases maintained by trusted intermediaries. Transactions involved a sequence of messages, reconciliations, and legal confirmations, often cross multiple institutions. Tokenization departs from this model by enabling ownership and transfer directly into the asset itself. A tokenized security is not merely a reference to an off-chain legal chain, but it is a digital object whose transfer can be executed and validated on a ledger. Smart contracts allow this object to interact automatically with other tokens, enabling conditional execution of delivery versus payment, margin calls, or coupon payment. Three features distinguish tokenization from conventional digitization. First, programmability allows financial contracts to be executed automatically without human intervention. Second, shared ledgers replace bilateral reconciliation with a single synchronized source of truth. Third, settlement finality can be achieved in near real time. Together, these features shift the focus of risk from institutions to infrastructure. Where traditional systems rely on institutional buffers and legal processes to manage failure, tokenized systems rely on the correctness, resilience, and governance of code. This shift necessitates a corresponding evolution in regulatory approaches, supervisory framework focused solely on capital adequacy, or conduct risk or insufficient when failures can originate in algorithmic or data feeds. The policy challenges is to regulate not only who participates in the financial system, but how transactions are executed at the most fundamental level, that is, in the code itself. So really, tokenized money. The settlement asset is the cornerstone of any financial system. In traditional markets, central bank money serves as the ultimate settlement asset for transactions, anchoring convertibility and preserving the singleness of money across institutions and markets. Tokenization reopens this question by enabling a broader range of digital money to circulate on shared ledgers. potentially expanding the set of assets used to discharge obligations with finality. Three broad categories of tokenized money are emerging. Tokenized commercial bank deposits represent a digital extension of existing liabilities, retaining the two-tier monetary system while enhancing programmability. Regulated stablecoins are privately issued digital tokens backed by safe assets, often designed for global circulation. Stablecoins are payment assets that share similarities with various forms of digital money. Wholesale central bank digital currencies, or WCBDCs, represent a direct digital claim on the central bank designed for interbank and financial market infrastructure, or FMI. Settlement. So a securitized token is defined as any token that meets the definition of a security in a given jurisdiction, subject to respective securities laws. Many jurisdictions have, however, limitations on their legal frameworks, implying that tokenization is representing a claim against the issuer and is not a claim against the property right of the underlying asset. Hence, the underlying asset may be commingled with other assets in practice and may be treated as unsecured claims in bankruptcy. Having said that, many jurisdictions have drafted or are considering drafting legalization for tokenization. Each of these three types of settlement assets embodies a different allocation of risk management between the public and private sectors. Tokenized deposits rely mainly on the existing prudential regulations of deposit insurance, but they remain exposed to bank credit risk to the extent that they are uninsured. Stablecoins can achieve global reach and are deployed on innovative technology, but their ability to maintain par convertibility depends not only on the credit quality of the reserves assets, but also on the operational capacity of the issuers to meet redemptions and the liquidity of underlying funding and government securities markets. Although a WCBDC eliminates the settlement asset risk, it requires central banks to operate the new infrastructure. And just to let you know, there's even tokenization in banking. I'm not going to make this too much longer, but I just wanted to let y'all know exactly what was coming directly from the IMF notes on tokenized finance. So this is the International Monetary Fund. Give me 1 second so that way you can see the, and you can see it right here. IMF notes. Now you can see exactly what I'm reading from. And I do want to thank all of y'all once again for coming to this financial literacy corner so that way you can see exactly how the world is changing right in front of your very eyes. Thank you and have a good day.